and of course you have to have a teacher at some point. I think that's a little bit of a different story, but I think it's in anything you want to do, not just yoga, but there's something that happens when two people in a room together. There's a transmission that's beyond, you know, visual. It's beyond just touch. It's beyond any of the senses. There's something that happens. So, and that's another sense that it's a secret society. I mean, if you're not practicing, you're not going to get it. But also, I mean, you know, yogis are outcasts. I mean, if you look at the yogis in India, they're walking around with, you know, covered in human bone and with a thong if they decide to dress that day, right? I mean, so it's not like, you know, this Lululemon thing. I don't know. We'll talk about that later.
Well, and you touch upon another obviously huge element of the film, which is the teacher-student relationship.
Yes.
So maybe if you could speak about that, because it's a wonderful both contemporary investigation of that relationship based upon what is a very ancient tradition.
I mean, there's a lot that can be said about this. You know, I feel so lucky to have met my teachers, plural, and you know, my first really strong relationship with it, or how do I say it, inspiration with a teacher was in Japan. You know, when I was 19, I moved to Japan to study Shotokan karate. Actually, there was a guy there named Tanaka, and he had fought my teacher to a draw. My first karate teacher was a guy named Gerald Evans. They called him Ski, and he was an African American karate sensei in Philadelphia, and I started practicing with him. And he famously fought Tanaka to a draw. I think it was the Pan American Games that were held in Tokyo or somehow. But if you're a black guy and you're fighting the Japanese champion and it's a draw, you won, basically. So I went to Japan to practice with Tanaka, and all of the karate classes were from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. and that's when I had to work teaching English. So here I've come, you know, 7,000 miles, and I can't do what I came for. I'd heard of Aikido, and there was an Aikido dojo on my train line, so then they had classes in the afternoon, which I could attend. And I dropped in one afternoon and just watched, and my jaw dropped. I mean, people are flying through the air, and they're tumbling, and they're throwing each other, and you know, I'd studied enough martial arts to have a lot of respect for the fact that it has to work. Like they say, Budo is Budo. Budo is not dance. Budo's not gymnastics. I mean, it's martial arts. It's life and death. It has to work. And these guys were practicing this, and they were having so much fun. They were so happy. And after I spent some time with them, I realized that I was in the presence of masters, like genuine people that had mastered something. And you know, I'm an American kid from South Philadelphia. I never even thought about what a master might be. I didn't have any concept of mastery. I mean, and you know, in hindsight, of course, Gerald Evans was a master, but sometimes, you know, when you're closer to your teacher in sort of culture or even area, you don't appreciate it as much, you know. And then that someone would share this stuff with me, you know, because martial arts, Aikido's secret too, actually. You know, these are life and death arts. I mean, it's not commerce. It's not a product. It's a you know, a lineage that's hundreds and in some cases 1,000 years old, like yoga. And to have someone share that with you is, I mean, you can't put a price on that.